3, 2, 1. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Failure Friday. I don't have my crew with me today, so we're going to try again something new in my bathroom. But nonetheless, Failure Friday is my brainchild where we get to talk to clients, friends, and sometimes complete strangers about how failure has shaped them, their lives, how they've fallen on their face, and how they've came back, how they've fallen forward, how that's made them a better person, father, mother, sister, brother, cousin, business owner, and what we can learn from that and what we can learn from them. And today I'm super excited to have a friend who I haven't spoken to in a really long time. His name is Shawn Taylor. He is owner of Tailor-Made Training for You. He is the first personal trainer I have ever hired, and I claim you to be the person who taught me good workout habits and how to get off my ass and work out every day, because 3 days a week just doesn't cut it. And it wasn't really until I started going 5 days a week that I started to see my body change, and I attribute all of that self-discipline to what he instilled in me. So thank you for being here, Shawn.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Glad to be here.
He got all slim on us. When last time I saw him, he had about 30 pounds on him. Now he looks like he's anorexic. No offense, if you have an eating disorder, don't DM me. But Shawn, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came into this industry? I remember when I came to you, you were just so captivating, and you have such a crazy story. I don't know how much of it you're going to share, but tell us how you came to the conclusion that personal training in the fitness industry is where you belonged.
Well, for me, it's pretty bizarre because everybody I talk to, like clients, they are fascinated by the story because I fell in love with exercise in 7th grade. And playing sports and, being athletic and going through all those channels that you go through, I just fell in love with it. But I didn't get really serious about fitness until maybe I was 19. That's when I really got intrigued and about, the anatomy of the body. I have a degree in exercise science and nutrition, so I've always been very fascinated by how the body looks. I'll stare at people and they may think I'm checking them out. No, I'm just looking at your anatomy and what you can change and this and that.
What a
physique.
good thing to say.
But no, I'm not.
I was just checking you out, letting you know what I could change about you.
No, see now, Kendall. You know what? That's not what I mean. But
it's okay.
It's almost like a hairdresser. They do hair all the time, so they're always looking at hair. So I do the same thing with the body. The human anatomy really is intriguing to me. So I fell in love with it at an early age. Very weird. I used to do push-ups and sit-ups in the bathrooms. How I knew I was kind of onto something, there was an Ironman competition in 11th grade. And all the years I've been doing push-ups and sit-ups in the bathroom, it finally came off in the JROTC program I was in. And when I did 200 push-ups and 200 and some sit-ups in 2 minutes. JROTC. It's they have JROTC for the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, and the Navy. It's a program that it's pretty much elective in high school. I haven't been in high school in so many years. I'm so old, but I don't know if they still have JROTC. I think they do, but it's a program. If a kid was interested in making a military career, it is kind of like the stepping stone to go in that route if that's something that you want to do. And it's a pretty cool thing. Now, at the time I was playing football and running track, and when the JRTC instructor saw me do 200 push-ups in 2 minutes, he was like, "You're going to be our representative at the Ironman competition." I was like, "No, the heck I'm not." He's like, "Yes, you are." I was like, "No, you're not. I know your uncle's son. He was a hell of a football player. I'm going to talk to somebody in your family." I said, "Listen, sir, with all due respect, I'm not doing this. I'm playing sports, and that's what I want to do. I'm not coming here to be a representative or the face of this Ironman competition." So, but lo and behold, between my mom and my aunt, they both convinced me to do it, and I killed it. So here I am, nobody, they knew who I was, but they really knew who I was. Oh, Ironman, this guy beat out all the schools in the county, all these kids he just beat. And so it just kind of went from there. And
what is Ironman?
it's an event that consists of push-ups, sit-ups, a 2-mile run, and an obstacle course. So based off your scores, and based off how well you do, they score you off points. The goal is to max out in everything in order to win it. So I didn't think I didn't have that much confidence. And people's like, what, you didn't have confidence? No. If it wasn't for my mom she was like my cheerleader, you can do this, there's nothing you can't do, you can do this. And I was just like, Mom, I really don't think I can do this. And she's like, you're gonna go out there, believe in yourself, I believe in you, go out there and kill it. I know. She's like, son, you've been doing push-ups and sit-ups in the bathroom since 7th grade, you got this. Come on, you got this. Yeah. She's like, come on, you can do this. And I was like, and so her motivating me and inspiring me and just believing in me. Sometimes you just need somebody to believe in you in order for you to start believing in yourself. So she pretty much believed in me more than I believed in myself. So I went out there and I just killed it. And I defended my crown, or whatever you want to call it, my 12th grade year too. My 12th grade year was harder because, there were people like gunning for me, like I got to get this guy, I could beat this guy. And then I won it. I won it again my second year. And it was pretty cool because they shut down the high school and they presented you this huge trophy in front of the whole school. And it was a pretty big deal to me. I was kind of shy back then. I'm not a person who likes a lot of attention.
No way. No one with traps that big doesn't like attention.
Kendall, stop it. I did not get into lifting weights because of that, but I just love the way exercise feels. And exercise, I tell people all the time, it's deeper than just the way you look. It's therapeutic. It helps with your mental acuity. It makes you feel good. You're happy. It creates endorphins. It's so deeper than what the outside appearance. And so that's why I try to get people to, when people come in and see me, they like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this. I try to educate people on, just don't worry about the outside appearance, but it also helps internally, So I don't want people to never get that misconstrued, but everybody has their own reasons for getting into exercise. So when the football was done and my military career was done, I was like, well, what am I going to do? What is it? And I remember the professor saying in college, if there was something you could do for free, what would that be? You could just do it for free. And I was like, well, I want to help people, but what is it, Shawn, that you want to do for free? I was like, you know what? I would love to have my own personal training facility. And he was like, oh, all right, I need you to write a paper on that. I was like, okay. So I've always had this vision, which started my senior year in high school, that is something I always wanted to do once it's all said and done. And finally that vision became into a reality. So, which got me here, but it was I went through a lot of letdowns and setbacks trying to get to that place, because I have a degree in exercise science. I know nothing about business.
Oh gosh, you're preaching right now.
Yeah, but my brother, he has an MBA, so I would get little tidbits from him and people, other entrepreneurs. And one thing I learned that you need as an entrepreneur, the number one thing you need is patience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And tenacity, I would say that. Yes,
yeah,
but
a whole lot of that.
I want to stop you right there because you said brother. Tell everyone where you're from.
Well, I have roots in both places. I have family in Baltimore, Maryland, and Florida.
There you go.
And
Baltimore.
And New York and Philadelphia. So
okay, well, the brother, where does brother come from? Is that Philly or is that Baltimore?
Baltimore.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what you thought. Yeah, definitely.
It's from everywhere. When you did the Ironman, who were you competing against? Was that all high schoolers?
That was all high schoolers. I was 16 years old. It was nothing but all the high schools in the county. Now, I don't know all the number of high schools, but let's just say it's thousands and thousands of kids out there. Oh so it was a big deal. So
you think it's just the county? It's a lot.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's a lot of kids, but I remember when my mom, we drove up, and I was just like, when I saw all the people, I started freaking out. I was like, Mom, look at all these freaking people out here. She was like, you can do this, Shawn. And then my mom said something to me, and that's when it clicked. She's like, how many of these kids out here from all these high schools have been doing push-ups and sit-ups since 7th grade? How many? How many kids you think it can do 200 push-ups and 200 sit-ups in 2 minutes? That's 120 seconds. That's not a lot of time. And that's a lot of reps. So I was like, Mom, I was so nervous. I felt like I was just gonna throw up in my mouth. I was just nervous. The nerves just wouldn't stop. I said, Mom, I don't know. It was just intimidating when you see all those people that you have to compete against. For me, it was intimidating. And so she just kept saying, you can do this. Go out there and win this thing and make me proud. She said, there's not a doubt in my mind. I'm looking at this woman like she is on some serious dope or something. I was like, what? She believed in me that much. I was like, Mom, look at all these kids.
It's your mama. Of course she does.
And she believed in something. And then when I won it, she was not shocked at all. She's like, I knew my baby was going to take this thing. I knew my baby was going to take it. And my brother was really, because me and my brother, we are 2 years apart. And he was really impressed by that. So, and as I look back on it now, I'm like, at the time I didn't think, but now I look back on it, I was like, man, that's a big deal. Dude, that's a big deal.
2 years in a row, that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal. And so my love for just exercise has just always been there. I have a love for it and I have a passion for it. I'm very passionate. I've had a lot of people from my family lose their lives over, health, and which made me even more passionate for it even more. So I was like, if I can keep a person from not losing their life over something that they can prevent when it comes to their health, I think that, you know what, I'm doing a big service, to the community, to the world, whatever. If I could just help a couple of people just change their mindsets around, because to me, Kendall, fitness, exercise is 99% mental, only 1% physical.
Ooh,
it is.
100%
it is mental.
That.
Yeah.
And I think everyone has to find how do you say this? The point at which it's easiest to surpass that mental block. So, for example, for me, if I don't work out between 5:30 and 6:30 in the morning, the statistical likelihood of me working out at all that day decreases drastically. Like, I have to do it between those hours. That might look totally different for someone else, but the key for me was finding out, all right, once I got the habit of working out, the habit you get where if you don't work out 5 days a week at least, then you feel like a failure because it's a habit, it's part of your day. Right. So once you get to that point, you have to figure out, okay, when do I have to work out to where it decreases the chances of me not getting it done, and then at the end of the day feeling like I have to go and work out at 10 p.m. before I can go to sleep. So that was my sweet spot. And I think that my dad, he's the same way. He has to work out at a specific time. So if you're at a point in your workout journey where you're mentally you're there, you're ready to eat right, you're ready to start working out because you're just fed up, find your time sweet spot. There's probably a word for it, but that was huge for me. I was like, all right, I just got to make my ass get up at this time, get it over with, and then it just it doesn't even feel like it interferes with my day at all.
Right. But exactly.
Okay, so we talked about how awesome you were. What major failure, though, do you want to talk about today that contributed to your success?
My major failure, there was a time in my life I was in my, I want to say late 20s. I had some things going on in my life, and I attempted to commit suicide. Nothing was going right in my life, and my mother found me. And
your late 20s?
It was in my late 20s when that went down.
In or out of college?
Oh, I was done. School was done. My late 20s, I was well done.
Maybe you were slow slow bloomer.
Slow
You didn't go to class that much.
Right. But it was, it was like, I went through a breakup. It was just so many things that was going wrong at that time. So, I just didn't care. Just didn't want to live. My life, I think, wasn't what I wanted. And so my turning point from there was to, on my personal podcast, I talk about my mom a lot. She's no longer with me, but I talk about her a whole lot because of her, I think there's certain things within me that are very good that I pretty much got from her. And when I tried to commit suicide, my mom was there. She kept it between me and her. She didn't get no family members involved. No one knew. It was between me and her. I remember the day I took a whole bottle of Tylenol PM and a bottle of wine, and I just, boom, that was it.
Were you at home?
I was actually
Your mom's
working.
home?
No. I was working part-time because, I was working for, what was I doing at that time? I was working for Bank of America, and then I was working at a health club part-time. And actually, Kendall, I'm thinking I was home because my mom was coming over to my apartment. I was home. The door was ajar. The door was unlocked, and she walked in and she found me right there. Call 911. This is the story that she told me. Call 911. They got EMTs out there, and somehow, I was out of it. So my mom was just trying to get me to, wake up. She threw me in the shower. That whole spiel, or whatever, until they got there, and I was in and out. I can vaguely remember, but one thing I do remember is them. It was like, we have to get these pills out of your system. We got one or two ways we can do this, Mr. Taylor. We can do this, and I can't remember the thing, but I don't know if they would stick it. It was a tube they had to stick down my throat, or they give you. It's not this big, but it was a cup, and it had to be about this much, and it looked like black tar. Okay.
Like Evicac?
I don't know the name. I don't know the name of it, but I knew it was black and it was thick. It looked like tar. Seriously, that's all I remember that. And it tasted, Kendall, it was a taste that you couldn't even fathom. It was that horrible. And I had to drink it, and they sat there and they watched me. It's like, Mr. Taylor, either you drink this or we're putting this tube down your throat, and you're not going to like that. So it was a motivation. They were motivating me to drink it, and I finally drank it. So you had to, of course, go to the bathroom, and it comes out your system. Okay. Wow. So they pretty much had to pump those pills through me. Now, that was years ago, so I don't know if a person does that now. I don't know what they do now for that. But back then, that's what they did for me. And then my mom, later.
He's not that old, guys. Okay, I know you're like, how old is that motherfucker? He's not that old.
So, Kendall, you are crazy. So, to make a long story short, after a couple of days, because they Baker Act me. I had to sit in this weird place for about 3 days, 72 hours.
Ooh, what was that like?
It was like kind of being like in jail, but they were nice, Yeah, that's what it was. It just reminded me of pretty much like solitary confinement, but on a better scale.
Yeah, one of my good friends in high school tried to do something similar. He got Baker acted, and I went and visited him, and I'll never forget. They made me take the shoelaces out of my shoes and my sweatpants.
Right. Couldn't have none of that stuff.
Shit, this shit's real. Like.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, I was in boxers, and that's pretty much it.
For 3 days.
Just my mom. That's it. She was the only person, because my mom, me and my mom, we made a pact. We're going to keep this. My mom was very private, so I get my My mom's belief, her motto was a private life is a happy life. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way because I used to
You
have
believe
people all in
that?
my business. Oh yeah, I strongly live that. I live by that code. Because when I lived the opposite, it was always drama. There was always something. And so I don't have a lot of friends like I used to. My circle is very, very small, and I'm glad of that because I think you can't control the weather. I mean, certain things in life you can control, but you can control your personal life. And I'm kind of a control freak, and no one's going to infiltrate that unless I will allow you in. And so I believe drama comes one of two ways. You either create it or you invite it in. So if I'm not inviting that crap in,
That's
and I'm
powerful.
definitely I'm not creating it, I'm not letting your dud ass in my life to infiltrate my peace that I have. We live in a world that's just, it feeds off negativity. So why would I invite those people into my peaceful life, into my peaceful circle? No, you're gonna have to earn that. And I don't trust people I don't say I don't trust people. I think it's the devil inside them I don't trust. You see what I'm saying? Everybody's got an
Everyone has a
angle.
devil.
Yeah, everybody. So I'm very mindful of and once you're out of that circle, you ain't getting back in it. Once I kick you out, you will never get back in. And that's just
That's
how
how
I
I
live my
feel.
life. Yeah. As you get older, because Kendall, you're young. You're much younger than me. So as you get older, your views on life change based off what you go through in life.
No, I feel that. You get more bitter
Yeah.
almost, and it's kind of sad. You do.
I'm not
You just get.
a bitter,
But it's
grumpy
kind of
old.
what you're saying. Like, more shit happens, you become more protective. And I can
Right.
sum it down.
Right.
I don't know if my phone heard me look at this quote or saw me look at this quote, but now I just see it everywhere every time I go into social media. But
Right.
I was on Instagram and I saw this quote and it spoke to me. I made it the background on my phone. It said, "Stop allowing everyone access to you."
Exactly.
Stop. And
Exactly.
I mean, that goes to your point of stop inviting drama. Like, if you don't let everyone have access to you, your life's going to be a lot more peaceful. It doesn't mean you have to be mean to everyone.
No,
Just not everyone needs to know how transparent or your deepest, darkest secrets. Because
Right.
that's a problem I have. I share too much. I'm too transparent because I want people to feel comfortable around me. But in reality, that ends up kicking you in the ass more than not.
But you know what, Kendall? Now that you're speaking on transparency, I didn't start coming 100% transparent until I lost my mom in December 2018. I became very transparent because the people I thought that was going to be there for me when I lost my mom wasn't.
I was there when you
Nobody-
lost your mom.
Yeah, you were there, and
I saw you. I swear, I came home crying one day after training. I don't know if it was right after. It wasn't because you were mean to me or anything, but I came home crying, not like just boo-hoo crying, but I was like telling my husband about what just happened. You could literally see the spirit absent in your personality after being around you. Because for context, I came to Shawn. I don't know if you know this, but I got pregnant with our daughter, and I was so depressed about it. So I didn't want kids. I really didn't. And then here I was pregnant, right when my career was starting to really take off and I was starting to make real money. I got pregnant, and I had to tell my clients, I'm gonna be getting more and more pregnant because I'm pregnant, and I have to take maternity leave. And I just felt like I was putting myself behind. That the only way I knew how to feel better was to chemically change by working out. And I couldn't do drugs, right? I'm pregnant. I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not a terrible person. So I started working out with you, and then it helped so much. But then shortly after, I want to say 4 months after I really started going, that happened to you.
Right.
And it was just, you just became so, not forever, but you just became so dark and empty for a very long time.
I was, Kendall, and I'm
I
so
know.
glad Kendall. I totally forgot about that part that you just brought up, and you brought up I was different. I mean, and
it was night and day.
I just didn't. I lost my mojo. I lost my love for fitness. I really didn't want to be. When my mom was, And people don't understand. I didn't know my father. I grew up in a single parent home. That woman was a hustler, a grinder. She was highly educated. She was highly. I never met someone who was so positive in my life. I never. She was so positive, Ted. To me, it was disturbing. That's how positive this woman was. She saw she saw the positivity out of every bad situation. A divorce I went through, a breakup, and I'm like, why are you lobbying for? What, are you campaigning for this person? And I'm like, I'm your son. She's like, no, baby, you got to look at you. She's like, Shawn, hindsight's 20. You have to look at I said, Mom, I don't see any good in this. But she was like, she said, was everything in that relationship bad? I was like, no. She said, take the good that you saw from it. Don't dwell on the bad, just take the good. You got to see the good. There's good in everything that you do, even if it goes wrong. So she used to get on my nerves with that, her positivity, 24/7. It's like it never turned off. But when I lost her, I felt as if, I tell people all the time, when I lost my mom, I died too.
Mm-hmm.
I can never be the Shawn that I was prior to December 2018. I would never be that guy. So what I had to do, Kendall, because I hadn't, and Kendall, you remember, I just opened a second location in Houston, Texas. Mm-hmm. And I was flying back and forth, flying to Houston, flying to Jacksonville, flying to Houston. And when that happened, I didn't care about anything. I pulled out of the Houston location, lost a ton, lost money, I just really didn't care. I lost and as passionate and love for fitness, I had no desire for it whatsoever. I just didn't care about anything anymore. My business went in the red. The Jacksonville location here, it went in the red. I was losing people left and right. I just didn't care. And I felt like at that time, no one understood what I was going through. Everybody still wanted me to be that Shawn, and I didn't know how to be that inspirational, motivating guy and still go through what I was going through, because my mom, my therapist, which I still see twice a week today, because I have to. She says, Shawn, what
therapy
people don't understand.
Therapy is so important.
It is so important, Kendall. But Kendall, she said, my therapist said, Shawn, what people don't understand, every relationship when someone dies with that person is different. She said, people don't understand. Your mom, she was your father, she was your mom, she was your positive go-to. She was everything to you. She was like your mom and your dad. So it's like you lost like 7 people in one person. And people don't understand that type of grief. It hits different. And I still struggle. I have some days, like her birthday's coming up this month. I still struggle on that day. There's certain days that just hit me, and it's like, and I bounce back. I've gotten more mentally stronger, but here's the thing, Kendall. I lose my mom December 2018. I lose my uncle, who was my everything, in March of 2019. Then I lose my aunt, who was like my second mother, in December of 2019. In that short time span, 3 pivotal deaths, and people just walk around like, oh, you should be fine. I'm like, and so when I went through all that, my circle got smaller. I cut people off because they wasn't there for me. They wasn't there for me. No one was concerned. My clients were more concerned with me more than other people were who know me for years. So
would you have let people be concerned for you though? Would you have let people come in?
Kendall, I needed it. I mean, because it was like people who were concerned with me were breathing like a little bit of life in me, because they showed that they care. And tell AJ thank you for his gift, and that's between me and you and AJ. you remember what you gave? You remember what you gave me? I know
exactly what I gave you.
Girl, when I tell you, oh my God, it was amazing.
You needed that.
I needed that big time, but I was going through a troublesome time. My therapist, when she found out my aunt passed, the third death in a year, she broke down. She's like, I have, in my 20 years of doing this, I've never seen somebody experience that much death in such a short time span. She's like, I don't know how you're standing. I don't know how she was like, you have a mental strength. It doesn't even look like you're strong. She's like, Shawn, the average person probably would have took themselves out. They would be a wreck. He's like, I don't even know how you function. And I was like, I'm barely here. But to go through that many deaths in a short time span, it was life-changing for me. And so, Kendall,
physiologically, can you compare, now taking the situation out of it,
right.
Physiologically, can you compare your reaction to you having that breakup, not being where you want to be, committing suicide, and the grief that you felt losing your mom? Did you react in a similar fashion? Obviously not. You didn't try to commit suicide again that you've mentioned, but me, I see growth, right? Because you did try, and then you experienced a very different but a similar, just tragic defeat, and then you didn't.
But you know what, Kendall? I'm gonna share something with you that no one knew. I contemplated suicide so much. I thought about it, but I self-medicated just to sleep. I would drink and drink and drink. That first year my mom died, I drank the whole year. I got high the whole year. I just went on a tangent. I was mean. I was angry. I wasn't a good person to be around. I lost clients. I went off on people. I just wasn't myself. And I was like, Shawn, you got to get yourself together. So what I had to do, I had to reinvent myself, Kendall. And
how did you do that?
I literally had to kill off who I was at that. I had to become somebody else in order to still be here right now. I had to get myself in a place to where I said, you know what, Shawn? I used to lie a lot. Like to fit in, I wanted people to like me. I wanted this woman to like me. I wanted to fit in with these guys. I used to lie a lot. I said, you know what, Shawn? I need you to be 100%. I changed. I was like, I'm going to be 100% transparent. I don't care if nobody likes it. And I kept hearing a voice, be transparent, because be 100% transparent at all times. I keep hearing this voice because it's going to weed out all the fakes. And it did. It did.
It does.
Me being 100% truthful, it weeded out all the fakes. I hurt people's feelings. I didn't care because you was only involved with me because I was lying to you. I wasn't being honest with you about you being a piece of shit, you being a fat ass, you being lazy, you procrastinate, you a mooch. I just really told people how I felt about it. And then my circle got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And I would never go back to the guy of lying and telling people what they want to hear. I'm not going to walk around eggshells with you. You ask me a question, be man enough a woman to deal with the answer. You asked me, so here's the answer. The Shawn before, I would have sugarcoated it. I'd have danced around it. But now you ask me something, I'm going to give it to you. I'm giving it to you 100%, no chaser. Straight vodka, no chaser. Straight bourbon, no chaser. So you got to take it and you got to take it and swallow it. But that's just where I'm at in my life. And I'm writing a book. It should be finished by the end of this year. It's called 100% Transparency. It's about everything that I've been through in my life. Yeah. So, and I have another book that I finished. It's a 365-day devotional based off life stuff and health, and life stuff and fitness that you can read that inspire you. Every day you can wake up and read something for that day. That's done, but the 100% transparency, I'm pouring my whole heart into this, and it's gonna be something women can learn to understand their men more. Men can learn to understand themselves more. It's just me being 100% candid about just what men go through, suicide, the whole, just all of the stuff, you know.
What's
And
that
a lot
one
of
called?
people, 100% transparency.
The devotional?
Oh, the devotional. I have, you know what? I haven't had I don't got a title for it yet. The book is finished. I'm like,
What?
I don't know what title. I'm trying to figure out a title. So, but
brainstorming.
yeah, so I'm trying to think of a title for it. So, but I'm more excited about the 100% transparency because there's a lot of things in the book that a lot of people don't know, and they're going to see a different side of Shawn and who he actually is. But they're going to hit. It's a lot of pain in that book. It's a lot of hurt in that book. So, but it's things
that's good because there's a lot
good.
of pain. There's a lot of hurt in the world.
Right.
There's a lot of pain and there's a lot of hurt
right.
of people in your culture, people
Yeah.
in your industry. And that's what this whole podcast is about, is helping people that are on the same path. So how did you reinvent your business since your mom's passing? You reinvented yourself, but you had to breathe life back into your business.
Yeah, I did. I came to a crossroads at me and my landlord, we came to a head, and I was going through so much. And I liked my old landlord, but he sold it to
the Indian guy.
Yeah, no, he was the new owner, but the old owner, he was a white guy, very nice, but he sold it to the Indian guy. Once the Indian guy took over, I was just like, I just didn't like that guy vibe. Me and him, we just butt heads a lot. And he emailed me, and it just went wrong. And I was just like, you know what? I'm getting out of here. So I moved into a new location. My owners, my new landlords, I love them. Avi and his wife, they're from Israel. They're ex-military. They're funny. They're bubbly. It was like a perfect fit. And just, it's a new location. All my clients love it. It's more upscale. It's totally different. And I needed a change. So it started with that. And I just felt like my love for the business started coming back. And I just started diving myself into it. Now I got a brand, I would say 50% new clients that I love. I let go and severed ties with some clients that I kind of felt as if I had to sever ties with, because I fire people. People trip out. I'm like, yes, I fire clients all the time. I do. And I do that because I'm not in it for the money. I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by my passion. So
I do too. I do the same thing. I tell my client, most of my clients are business owners, and I always tell them, you are one client away from losing it all.
Right.
So be careful on who you bring into your business. Do not make it all about money, or you will start to, even if you are the most passionate about what you do, if you bring in people that are not a good fit because you're desperate for money, you will fail eventually. It might take 30 years.
You will fail. And Kendall, when I do a consultation, people are like, well, I'm doing this consultation because I want to see if you're going to be a good fit. I'm like, so do you think that you determine whether you're going to work with me or not? Yeah. I'm like, nah, I determine whether I'm going to take you on as a client. And the looks on people's faces when I tell them, like, what? I can't believe you said that.
It's a game changer.
I'm like, yeah. I got clients. It's not like I need you. You know, I could see if I didn't have nothing but 5 clients. Kendall, I told you, 100% transparency, buddy. 100% transparency. You're either going to take it or not. I said, listen, because it's the truth. I tell them, I was like, listen, I don't need you, because if you don't become a client, somebody's emailing me, messaging me, or calling me. I want to be a client. I need to come in for a consultation. So I said, I'm the determining factor whether, we're going to be there's going to be a trainer-client relationship, and people are just shocked.
No, I think that's more refreshing for sure.
But Kendall, people are more shocked that I fire clients. That's where they're really shocked. People, like my trainer friends, are like, dude, you throw away money? I say, dude, I'm not in it for the money. I was never motivated by money because I don't come from money. So I'm not motivated by it. Not some people don't come for money, they're motivated. That's their job, that's a job. I'm like, no, dude, because if I'm motivated by money, I am going to be exposed sooner or later. I am.
Yep.
And I don't want to be that guy, that trainer who's just motivated by money. I was like, no, man, I like my personal training studio to have a certain positive vibe. And certain people will kill that vibe. No, if you're a negative person, that's not going to work for me. And I will fire your ass as quick as you can blink. If you got all that negativity and all that, because I tell people, I say, listen, once you walk through the door, whatever you're going through, leave that shit outside. Do not bring that nonsense in here. Because we all go through stuff. I said, how would you feel if I'm just dumping all my shit on you every day? And I go through a lot of shit, but you wouldn't be able to know. Now, would you? Yeah. I said, see how fair that is? So leave your shit outside of my establishment, you know, because it is peaceful. We all get along. We laugh, we joke. Kendall, you know how I was, and it hasn't changed. I like to have fun, but I still like to torture you at the same time, but still laugh and pick at you or whatever, because that's just what I do. I want a friendly and comfortable, peaceful environment.
And you have to protect that. So
yeah,
how long did it take you? Because in my career, in the beginning, I was just so desperate to show people, colleagues, that I could do it, that I took on whoever, and I quit. It took me about 7 months to learn that I couldn't do it. I was something that I grew up loving, finance, trading, I was going to start hating if I was just taking on anyone. So it took me, let's call it 8 months to realize, like, all right, I don't care if I make less than everybody else. I'm going to be choosy on who. I'm going to set a standard, and if they don't meet this standard, doesn't matter how much money they have, I'm not bringing them on. How long did it take you to get to that point? Because in reality, you have to pay bills. So in the beginning, that might not be practical. So someone earlier on, what advice would you give them?
Well, Kendall, I'm going to share my little short story. In 2012, I started working for myself, and I fell flat. I mean, it was terrible. Because Kendall, I didn't think it through. I didn't have a plan. And I thought I was just like, oh, I'm good at what I do. I can get people left and right. And it wasn't that easy. So I revisited once I quit and I moved, and I was in Houston, Texas. I went working for it's the only health club that's on Wall Street right now, and it's Lifetime Fitness. And they only build Lifetime Fitness in different areas where the income is at a certain amount, which I think is very smart if that's what you want as a business wise. So I was very intimidated by the business because they fly you to Minnesota for a couple of weeks, train you on all your education and your knowledge, and then now you have to work with what on your education and knowledge you're taking. You're dealing with the CEOs, the vice presidents, the executives. You've been with all these big wigs, so it was a little bit intimidating. I was like, and they were like, this is how the training went in Minnesota. Okay, welcome to Lifetime Fitness. We're glad to have you. We picked you because, hey, we wanted the best of the best to work for our company. You fail one test, you will not work for this company. I was like, Jesus Christ. So you're going to test us for 2 weeks. We can't fail one test or we don't get on. And I was like, oh my God. So pressure. I'm like, hey, Shawn, you can deal with pressure. Just study. We did study groups, whatever. Aced it. Boom, boom, boom. Went back to Houston. Boom. And I wanted to learn more about the business for me. I wanted to learn what it's the general manager, sales manager, personal training, director of personal training. I wanted to learn everything. So I went a different route. But what I would tell anybody starting out as a business, just be open. Just be open-minded. Don't be closed-minded to nothing. Just be open to just learn and get better at your craft. You want to be proficient at it. And even if you stumble, just don't quit because it's hard. But I revisited entrepreneurship 4 years later, and I had my plan. I was better. I was more confident, Kendall. I just, when I first went into it, I just wasn't ready. I just wasn't prepared.
I love what you're saying right now. I think I think it's cool today, especially with social media, to like have your own business, have your own side hustle, when in reality, you know, if you own your own business and you're doing it right, especially in the early years, you're going to be working so much fucking more than a 9-to-5. It's not even funny. It's so, I mean, I have so many people that hit my DMs and they're like, yeah, I want to quit my 9-to-5 and start my own gig. I was like, okay, are you ready to sacrifice time with your kids, time with your partner, time with your friends, your social life? Because it's not fun most of the time. That's why it's so important you love what you do, because if you don't, you're out the door. I give you a month. I want to touch on something you just said, because I think it gets such a bad rap. In reality, it's so great. If you are not ready to start your own business, go work for someone who already has, that has a proven method, and go learn every fucking thing you can from them. How you don't want to run it, how you do want to run it. Learn from it, soak it up. Even if you're getting paid shit, there's still a premium because you're learning. You're getting paid to learn. And then you leave and you start your own shit after a year or two. There's no shame in that. And I think it gets such a bad rap of, why am I going to go work for someone else when I know how to? No, you fucking don't, or you would have done it. You would have done it.
Kendall, I love what you just said too, because before I opened, I went for a whole entire year and I worked for this guy. And I give him, my buddy Brandon Floyd, he owns Level Up Fitness in Ponte Vedra. We both worked out of this guy's studio, and this guy's name is Sergey. He had the perfect plan. So I studied this guy. I mean, I studied him. He's like, he used to always say, Shawn, you're a phenomenal trainer. I like how you write things down, and you're so organized, and you're so structured, and you've got so much knowledge or whatever. I said, but Sergey, I don't have your knowledge. You've been doing this way longer than me. He's like, just watch me, just observe me. And I watched how he ran his business. His business was very, very successful. So what I did, I took that same model and everything that he poured into me, and I was like, I think I'm ready. Now, here's the thing, Kendall. My clients at the time, they were like, Shawn, you need your own spot. You got to do. I said, I don't think I can do this. He's like, come on, Shawn, we're going to follow you. You got us already. You just got to get your own establishment. I was like, I don't know, man. I said, yeah, right. So I took this crappy general manager job in Atlanta, and then I lived in Buckhead, and then I came back, and then I opened my spot. And it has been steady. The thing that scared me is, like, they were like, the first couple of years in entrepreneurship, it's going to be hell. My first 2 years, I was scratching my head a lot. And then my first year, I was eating ramen noodles. I mean, the money wasn't just pouring in. And my brother told me something. I called him and I said, man, I don't think I'm cut out for this. He's like, listen, Shawn, you got a talent, you got a gift. You've been doing this pretty much all your life. If you put in the discipline, the hard work, like you've done your body, there's no way that this shit's not going to be successful. I took that, and it was like smelling salt. I just was like, holy shit. I mean, just that little statement that he said, it just made something alive in me. He said, Shawn, take that same discipline and that same work ethic that you put into your body all those years and put that into your business. Do the same damn thing. And that's what I did, Kendall. I really started. My brother and my best friend, they were the ones that really believed in me. And he said, if I had that gift, there's no damn way I would walk away from it because of fear. He said, are you out your mind? He said, I wish I had a talent to have my own business. And I was like, he said, Shawn, that's if a person can own, he said, not everybody can do that. Kendall, so for us to be in entrepreneurship, girl, it takes a special somebody, and you got to have a certain type of mindset in order to do it.
I think part of that mindset that I've found that I succeed with is that knowing when I'm wrong and what I don't know, and finding people that know it and clicking with them. Right. I think that that's where a lot of people fall short, especially when it comes to becoming friends with people in your own industry. They're like, well, that's my competition. Why would I go hang out with them? Why would I reach out to them?
Right.
You need a community. You know, it's okay to have your friends that you go out with. It's okay to have your friends from childhood, but you need those friends that are better than you to make. You need. It's my favorite quote. It's on my Facebook. If you are the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You need to have that room where you go to where everyone in there is more successful, wealthier, had a business for longer. Just in general, they're what you want to be. You might not be it, but they're what you want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. I have a CEO focus group. I am the youngest person by 25 years. It's $400 a year, and I will pay that every year until I die. Because I want to be the youngest person learning from the people that are already established, and then eventually I want to become the person that's feeding back into the younger generation coming into that group. You need to be that, you need to grow into it. How has, I don't even know what we would classify as the failure that you talked about. I guess it would be your failure to react to your depression in a healthier way as a person in the health industry. Is that, am I?
I failed in business in 2012. I failed flat.
Okay, flat. Well that's one. And that was when you went to back to corporate America.
Right, I went back to corporate America for 4 years, and then I went back. I had one of my buddies. He was like, I was like, man, my mom had moved back. My mom had moved to Florida. She was in Atlanta. She moved to Florida, and I was like, man, I was missing her. I was like, man, I need to move back. I mean, my brother's in Texas. Neither one of us are here. It's only me. It was only my mom, me, and my brother. And I was like, somebody needs to be close to her. And I know my brother had his own family and his career established in Fort Worth, Texas. And I was like, you know what? I need to move back. Something just kept telling me. But my buddy, Brandon, again, one of my best friends, he was like, listen, man, there's a spot here, man. Come here, man, and make a name for your business. And, because you just have to pay rent. The train. I said, but damn, man. I said, bro, I ain't got no damn clients. He's like, Shawn, you just come out here and build it. Just come out here and build it. And I was like, and so I started reaching out to people, see what they were doing. People I used to train before when I was a manager at Bailey's, because I used to be a GM for Bailey's. I was a GM, then
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, years ago. I was a GM for Bailey's, and then I stepped down. And then I became a personal trainer for Bailey's, and I just worked my way up to director of personal training. So having worn different hats, I kind of had an inkling of how I wanted to run my business, because I've already failed once at it horribly. And I was like, okay, Shawn, you can do this better. So working out of Sergey's, I just learned so much from a guy who was well seasoned, more educated, more experienced, been extremely successful at it, had loyal clientele base. And I was just like, man. But one thing I learned about Sergey, he was so hands-on, and he was so technical, and he was so methodical in his approach to things. And I just took little snippets from him, Kendall, and developed my own thing. And when I thought I was ready, I just went ahead and launched on my own and just tweaked it a little bit, took that same model. And I saw him a couple of years ago. It was at Lowe's, and I told him, I said, man, thank you. Because of you, I've had my own business for 3 years. It was 3 years at the time. And he was like, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Brandon, because Brandon owns Level Up Fitness in Ponte Vedra, which is very successful. And just like you said, something
like
you gotta have.
I met Brandon. Is that by a coffee shop?
Brandon Floyd, yeah.
Is that by Urban Bean?
I want to say it. Yeah. I think so. Is he
a tall, light-skinned dude?
Everybody always says Brandon's light-skinned. I would say Brandon.
I think Brandon has trained me before. Like, I think I went there with a couple of the wives. Like, he trained me, but.
Yeah. I mean, he's an ex-football player. Played ball at East CW, East Carolina. He also, God, what was I going to say? Yeah, he does a lot of group fitness stuff too as well. He has a huge following.
But he's someone in the industry that you stay connected with and that you feed off of.
Yeah, and we like he'll come by my studio, I'll go by his studio, we swap ideas, and people are like, you guys are so good at what you do. There's no jealousy. I said, no, Brandon's like my brother. I'm like, and with guys, we're egotistical in our nature. There's no ego with me and Brandon. There's no competition. It's all about
Huge.
how can we make each other better? How can we collaborate on things? And we got some things that we're working on that's in the pipeline right now, but we got the same vision. And to be around people who are more successful than you or just doing just as better than you, where you can get better, I think it's really important thing that you brought that up, Kendall. I mean, it's huge. It is so huge. So
it is.
but
And just getting
yeah,
involved in those networks and in your community. And here in
right,
Jacksonville, every city has it, but it took me to the next level because when I first came here, I was not happy about being in Jacksonville. And it took me getting involved in like the Jack's Chamber, young professionals network, like really integrating myself into the community to find people that were like-minded. Because I mean, to be honest, there isn't many people at my age women especially, that are passionate about a career. Because everyone my age, like, we're having babies, we're getting married. It's just,
right,
there's not as many women trying to do what I do. So finding that community
right.
was huge for my business, but I could only imagine. I mean, you were saying that your clients, when you lost your mom, were the ones that were giving you that little bit of relief. I like to think
Right.
that if you had a larger community in the fitness industry, maybe that would have gone differently from that angle.
Right, right, right. And since we're so close, because Kendall, people are like, well, Shawn, why don't you have a big gym? I said, listen, when you go from being a general manager of $1 million facilities and all the stuff that you see, I said, that wasn't my vision. My vision was small, personal both. I don't want nothing on a astronomical scale with all this. I said, that was never I always wanted small, because I said personal training studios are for the people who don't like the creepers and constantly being stared at. She's doing squats and, lunges and all that, because there's a lot of weirdos in big gyms. It just are. This is sad. I mean, it's just true. You got guys who just go there to just talk to women or try to mac on women or just creeping, and it's a lot of weird things that go on in gyms. I love gyms. I have 2 gym memberships, one at Bailey's and one at Planet Fitness. I love gyms. It's my escape to get out of my personal training studio, but my vision was always small. I always wanted to get people and some people aren't comfortable in those bigger gyms. And some people want to have small confines to where they feel it's at home and it's more personal, and they could just literally just be themselves. So that's my target, and my target is not big, so for me it works.
People get wrapped up that they need all this stuff to be successful, but in reality, if you do it right, you don't need all of that. I mean, my goal, and I tell this to all the people I bring on, because just like you, I sit across the table. I'm not as direct as you. I say, just like you're interviewing me, I'm interviewing you. I don't bring everyone on that I sit with. It is very important to me that I have a small practice. I will only ever have 200 clients. If you become a client, you are number whatever they would be. And then I'm closing my doors, because I want a boutique firm. My issue, it hasn't been an issue yet, but all of my mentors and colleagues tell me, Kendall, don't do this. But for me, it's worked out so much. And I think that it's the same for you. So much of my personal life is wrapped up in my professional life, because I feel like, because I'm so passionate about it, it's hard not to bring the two together, because I'm not bringing people on unless I could see myself going and get a beer with them. I'm not bringing clients on unless I could sit and go to their daughter's wedding. Unless I see myself in my mind doing that, you're not coming into my practice. Right. So that only works on a small setting, right?
Exactly. That's the only way it can work.
Right.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff, Kim. That's good stuff. Yeah. You gotta see for me, I gotta see myself getting along with this person, just like liking this person in order for it to work for me. Because I'm like, man, my business is shit. It's like home. I'm always there.
Exactly.
So
it feels like home.
So if I'm always at my business, it's got to be a peaceful place. It's got to be a place that I'm comfortable with to make other people comfortable. It can't be a place in disarray and a lot of negativity and no, it can't be a place like that. I mean, I got to be here all day. Why would I want to be like that?
We have to be careful there, Shawn, because we don't want to create this picture of that. Just because we want it to be a peaceful place doesn't mean that it's going to be always free of conflict. Part of owning a business.
Now that's true. That's true.
Part of owning a business and being an entrepreneur is knowing how to de-escalate situations, react efficiently and timely, and then come home and everything passes, right? But that is such a big part of it, because I mean, if you can't handle conflict in a peaceful, you can't go, like if you get in a fight with a client, you can't go up and slap them. I mean, you could, but it's gonna have some serious consequences. You have to know it's gonna have a little blowback. So you need to know how to, and I think that is important to illustrate that, because I love what I do, but right now the market's down. You don't think I've had a few hard conversations with clients? Like, it's part of it. And I'm sure you've had the same thing.
Oh yeah.
But I want to get back to this last question, and then I'll let you go. How have your experiences made you specifically, I want specific adverbs or descriptive words, how has it changed you in a better way as a father, as a brother, as a son, as a business owner?
Ooh. Kendall, you got me really thinking tonight, girl. Jesus. I would start with my brother, because I share a lot of what I go through in my day-to-day with him. And my brother has a unique way of looking at things with a sense of logic, if that makes sense. I mean, and just breaking things down. Our conversations are always very intriguing. And he always shows me something that I possibly couldn't see. Like, have I ever gotten to it with clients? Like, yeah, I have. I mean, I've had disagreement with clients, but at the end of the day, we can rectify those issues, and it all depends on what the issue is. We can rectify it and come to some sort of resolve. Because for me, I don't know if it's my zodiac sign, a Libra, being a balance. I like being at peace with people. I don't like being in turmoil. I'm like, listen, if we got a problem, let's fix this problem today. Let's not let it fester. So it made me be a better communicator with my clients and more understanding to their situations on the outside of training. Because if I've had situations, Kendall, where I've said something in a joking manner and a client just starts bawling. And I'm like, whoa, what the hell did I just do? I don't like seeing a woman cry. I can't, that freaks me out when a woman is crying. It's like, God, and if I got anything to do, I was like, okay, I got a female client. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. How do I just escalate this total situation? And 95% of the time, it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the things that they're dealing with. And as a business owner, I have to always keep mindful that, Shawn, these people have lives outside of this. They have things that they deal with at work or in their relationships or anything. So it has allowed me to be more empathetic and sympathetic to what people are actually going through. For me with my brother, there was a point, I guess, when I lost my mom. My brother is just a constant reminder of, it's hard for me as a man to just deal with my different emotions and then based off everything, we had to come together. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start being a better brother to my brother. I'm gonna start calling him more, talking to him a little bit more, because when you experience death changes you, and our communication was broken a little bit, and then all of a sudden we just found ourselves coming back. So it's helped me to be a better communicator. As far as a father, I have if anybody hasn't seen my daughter, a beautiful daughter, she just turned 6 last week. And I have a son who's turning 16 in April, which I cannot
Oh
believe.
my God,
Uh,
that's crazy.
it is insane. And with them, I realize all the things I've been through, especially with death, is that they need me. They need me. I have to spend more time. I had to pull back because Kendall, I was working 6 days a week. And Kendall, I was used to work Monday through Saturday. Now, and unless I have to do a makeup or I have to change some days around or move a client to a Saturday because I missed a week or missed a couple of days. But I try to pride myself in just working Monday through Friday so I can actually spend more time, especially because my daughter's here, my son is in Tennessee, spend more time with her because she's much younger than Jordan, and me and Jordan bond is like it's unbroken because we've that kid was with me for a big part of his life. So but now Giselle is here, and she's a girl, so the dynamics is different, and I try to sacrifice more time to spend time with her because me not having a father, that's important to me. So it's made me a better father for my daughter because she's 6, but in the early years of her life, I was all about just chasing the business and everything, and I wasn't spending a lot of time with her. Now I'm more hands-on with my daughter, and I think that's vitally important for that father, especially with a little girl. It's so important for that father to bond with his daughter, because
you're teaching her how to be treated. You're teaching her what to expect. You're implementing her standard.
Kendra, get out of my head. Get out of my head. That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm the image of a man, the first man that she sees. The first man that she's going to see is the father. If I'm not hands-on with her, if I'm not spending time with her, that's going to mess with her psyche. And I don't want that for my little girl. So when you have kids, it's about you, but it's not about you. You have to kind of take a back seat to their needs, so it's made me a better father. As far
Have
as,
you ever apologized to her for not being present in the beginning?
Yeah, her and my son, especially
That's huge.
With my son, I was always there, but Giselle, I never had to apologize to Jordan because I was always there for Jordan, but Giselle, I talked to her at 6. I know she understands some things.
She understands a lot more than you think.
And I do apologize and have apologized when I wasn't that much there for her in the beginning. And I was like, but I remind her every day. I was like, baby girl, daddy loves you. I'm always going to be here. You're always going to be first in my life. So my clients, they are so funny because they're like, God, when you interact with her, it's like, who is that guy? Because I pick her up every day. She gets out of school at 3 and bring her back to the studio every day.
That's awesome.
And me and her mom came to agreement. She's like, Shawn, you need to bond with her more. And her mom is big on the memories, not the money. And she says that all the time. She says, Shawn, they don't have a concept of a dollar. It's about the memories for her. She says, Shawn, when she becomes a teenager, she's going to remember these moments. She's going to remember coming to the studio as a little girl. She's going to remember you training clients. She's going to remember all these things. I did this with my dad. My dad had this business, blah, blah, blah. She's going, it never registered with me about the memories for the kids until Nellie pointed that out for me. And I was like, wow, she says it all the time. It's about the memories, not the money. And I was like, wow. So that has changed me because, I never had a daughter before, Kendall. So dealing with the little girl scared the hell out of me. So I was kind of standoffish in the beginning. I didn't change her diaper. I was just freaking out. I was like, hold on, that stuff is different down there. It was just a different dynamics. And Nellie was like, you are out of your mind. She's like, you changed Jordan's diaper. I was like, well, Jordan's got what I got. She ain't got what I got. So
That's so
it took.
funny.
I did not change her diaper in that first year and a half. I did not. I didn't do nothing. I
That
didn't.
is hysterical. That reminds me of my dad. When our first was born, it was a girl, and
Right.
my dad came to the hospital, and AJ was scared to change her diaper because it was just scary. She seemed so fragile, and it's a vagina, and he's never cleaned a vagina.
Yeah.
But my dad had me, so like he came and he was like shoves AJ over, and he goes, "This is how you do it." He opens up her diaper, and he like gets all in the crevices. And I remember AJ was sitting behind my dad, and he was like. And then when my dad left, he was like, I was about to fucking kill him. Like, what the fuck was he doing touching our kid like that? And I was like, that's what you gotta do.
That's what you
That's
gotta
hysterical,
do.
though.
Yeah.
It did a whole year and a half.
Yeah, but it made me, it definitely made me a better person. And for me, the loss and the failures, it just made me more cognizant of. And my advice to anybody starting an entrepreneurship, believe in yourself and be patient. You got to believe in yourself and you got to be patient. Everything that you're going through, you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have things you're doing with trial and error. It's all a part of the process. But you have to be relentless in your approach. That this is going to be hard. I'm going to fail. I'm like, cause golly, I've been in business for myself for 7 years now. Those first 2 years, I tell people, listen, in the beginning, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. So, what do you got your degree in?
Economics and finance.
Let me ask you this. So you got your degree in economics and finance. Was the business aspect challenging for you in the beginning?
Incredibly. Because even in business and finance, I think that there's a misconception that you know how to run a business. I know how to make money. I didn't learn how to scale my business. I didn't learn how to properly market. I just knew how to evaluate companies, trade stocks, and talk to people. I firmly believe that everybody that goes to school should at least minor in business management. At least.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't even care I'm not even a big person on college, and my clients will tell you this. I do not sell college to my clients and to their kids. I sell on having your kid go work for a small business owner if you don't own one. They will learn so much more from that experience than they will in college. So much more. College, I think I graduated with a 3.8 GPA. I went to class half the time. I can't tell you half the shit that I learned in there. The most I learned was working for a friend's hair salon the last 2 years of high school, watching their payment processes, watching how they interacted with clients, watching how they employed people, how they fired people, how they hired people.
Right.
That would be my advice if you have children. And you're doing that, right? You're bringing your daughter in. Your son's in Tennessee, which has its own shortcomings, but having him go and intern, get your kids in a small business, because the college education is decreasing in value at undergraduate degree level and increasing in cost. Teach your kids how to run a fucking business. America was built, the tax code is built for you, and loopholes are left open for the small business owner in this country.
It sure hell is. So,
that is so much more valuable than a college education right now.
It is. You know, I get my son this summer, and he said, Dad, I want to work for you this summer. You know, I saw him over Christmas break. He said, Dad, I want to work for you this summer. I said, yeah. I said, you're going to work for me, and I'm going to pay you. I said, I don't want you to ever work hard at something and not reap the rewards from that. And I said, yeah, you will work for me. Because I want to teach him certain things, you know, because right now he's at a age that he started lifting weights early before me. He's working out now. And I'm just like,
he's so
like,
different looking than when I saw him last.
He's taller. I'm like, he's tall. And I'm like, this kid, I'm like, how is this even? And I'm like, he said, Dad, you didn't think I was gonna eventually get into working out? He said, Dad, that's all I remember. That's all I remember you doing. You was always working out. You would take me to the gym with you. He said, Dad, how can I not fall in love with fitness and exercise? He'll call me from the gym. Dad, am I doing this right? FaceTime me. Am I doing this right? Him and his friends, I'm doing this right. I'm like, this is how you do it. And I'll send them. I'm like, watch me. You guys watch me. And blah, blah. I love that. But me and Jordan, we've always been super close. So, but I love the dynamics of our relationships, and the conversations have changed. I don't want to say I never was not in love, but I'm super in love with my kids. I wasn't big on posting pictures. I wasn't big on posting pictures on Facebook. Now I'm sharing more pictures with them to the world, which I was totally against, because I'm not a fan of social media. I'm just being honest. I'm not a fan of it. And most likely, 10 out of 10, when I finally am done with my business and retire, I will be totally off social media.
I believe
But it is so good for business. Mm-hmm. I brand the hell out of my business on social media. I mean, the hell out of it.
That's part of the reason why we're here.
Yeah, it is. I get, what people want. People are like, no way. I'm like, I get majority of my clients from Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I do. And that's just
not the
truth.
same for me, but mine's more for branding purposes. It's like my business card. Like when I meet with people, because I would have about, I would say 20 to 30 people coming through the pipeline every week, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Google, or Dave Ramsey. And my Instagram's like, especially if they're not a good fit for me, I'm like, hey, we're not a great fit. I give them something of value to take away, or tell them what the next step would be without me involved. And then I go follow my Instagram. I put free information on there every day that you can use.
Right.
For people in your industry, Shawn, how can they contact you?
Oh,
preferred method.
You want me to give them everything? I'm gonna give them everything. You can.
I'm gonna put everything in the caption, but your preferred.
You know what? I love voice to voice. I think we don't communicate as people as much through voice to voice or person to person. So I'm gonna give you my number, 904-403-6991. And you can also let's say if you can't reach me on phone, you can always go to my website, tailormadetraining4you.net. That's TAYLORMADETRAING4U.net. Because if you need to get in touch with me, and if I'm not answering my phone, because sometimes I'm swamped, phone's on the charger or something, you can actually send an inquiry that will go to my email. And my email address is T as in Tom, 4, U, S as in Sam, my last name, Taylor, TAYLOR, @gmail.com. Those are 3 major ways that you can contact me. So,
do you have an Instagram for that I can tag?
Yes, it's at Driven Not Motivated 21.
Ooh, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Driven Not Motivated. Well, Shawn, I appreciate you so much.
Yeah, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
I go on yours.
That's right.
Go on your podcast.
And now I will be sending you a whole. You got to go look at some of my podcasts. They're all over the freaking place on Facebook, Kendall. I
have not seen what you post one podcast.
Crazy.
I would have already messaged you about it and been like, what? Like, why haven't you invited me? Like that's. Like I would have already given you shit about it.
Yeah, you got to go on. God, you go to my personal page and scroll. I'm like, oh, there's a podcast right there. How did I not miss? How did I miss that?
That algorithm does not put you on my timeline, but I'll go on your Facebook right after this, and I'm going to look at them.
Yeah.
But I'm
because
excited.
What's your availability for podcasts? This time by this time?
Nighttime or really early in the morning. really
You
early, not
serious?
3 a.m., but like 5:30, 6 a.m.
Yeah. Yeah, when I'm already with clients.
Yeah. Then nighttime.
The
Just because,
nighttime,
like,
so.
my kids are so young. Like, if I'm not working, I feel such guilt if I'm not here present with them.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
right.
I've already gotten like 5 text messages from AJ while we're sitting here. It's come across my computer screen. Where the fuck are you? And we're locked in the bathroom. You can't find me?
In a big ass house, all lost and shit. That's hilarious. That means
But,
that house
okay.
is too daggone big.
It's not that, I mean, it's big, but it's not like, never make me look like an asshole. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was another episode of Failure Friday, and we had Shawn Taylor on. Always a pleasure. I'm going to put all of his information for you to contact him in the
Right.
caption, and he prefers phone, email, or his website, but I'm also going to tag his Instagram and his Facebook, and you can check out his podcast. What's it called?
My podcast is the No Judgment Zone, discussing topics with no judgments.
Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to be super sober when I go on that one, because
Hey,
otherwise I'm
'cause,
just gonna be
Kendall,
like a
you
leaky
can-
pot.
Kendall, you can say whatever you want to say. That's how we
That's
like
what
it.
I
Just
always
like yours, no script. I'm not. When you look at some of our podcasts, you will see. You be like, okay, I need to go on this thing like ASAP. Because they
next
just
thing
like
you know-
they're all hanging out.
I'm gonna get a phone call from the SEC. Some questionable conversations. But
It is
this
raw.
Another
It's raw.
episode. God, yeah, I figured you're pretty fucking raw. Always have
I mean,
been.
Always have been.
If you want to come on the podcast, it's totally unscripted, as you can tell. We are booked up until April, but I'd love to have you, especially if you're a business owner or you have something that you would like to brand that can inspire other people, but also help you move forward in your business. Shoot me a DM and I'll get you on the schedule. I hope you all have a good night, and thank you, Shawn.
You're welcome, Kendall. Have a good one.